Okay, question number 2 shows a parachutist falling vertically towards the ground. The mass of the parachutist is 60 kg. This is the mass M, and this is the weight W, right? I know that mass and weight is a separate chapter and we didn't discuss this concept of mass and weight, but we know basic knowledge about mass and weight because it is a journal topic, and we know we studied this topic in our lower secondary. So we just try to just discuss some basic knowledge, not in detail, because that is a complete chapter. We will discuss a detailed knowledge in that chapter, right? So let's suppose if we talk about mass and weight. So do you know any definition that is for mass and weight? Any definition that you think that it is for mass and this definition is for weight?
Is weight the gravitational pull on your body or a certain object?
Yes. So you know about weight. So simply for weight, we can say that it is a force on a body. It is a force on a body because there are several ways to write the definition. You we need to write for 1 mark. So there is a very key concept of gravitational pull or in downward direction. So you may use to write any one thing because for 1 mark, one key point is important. So it is a force on a body that always act in downward direction, right? Okay, in the direction of gravitational pull, right? Force.
Yes.
And for mass, there is also a simple definition that mass is quantity of a matter in a body. It means it is related to the magnitude. Let's suppose if we consider a bag. So in the bag, the quantity of book, the mass of that book, the mass of journal, stationery, water bottle, lunchbox. So all these components make up a complete bag, complete mass of a bag, right? So that's how we can say that quantity of a matter in a body is known as of body. Simple. Okay, because this is first journal section of journal physics, and all questions are compiled from 7 or 8 chapters of journal physics, right? So that's why we found combined question in theory one. So part B is calculate the acceleration of the parachutist when the air resistance is 200 Newton. Okay, this is related to the force. Let me know if you know about the Newton's second law. What is the formula for Newton's second law? If you know about it, then it is okay. If you don't know, so it is also fine because we discuss this concept in fourth chapter. Do you know about Newton's second formula? F equals to ma, Newton's second law.
No.
Okay, so just skip this part because this is related to the force. When we studied about the force, then we solve this question again, right? Okay, next
Okay.
question is related to our topic. The question is the parachutist falls from rest at time t is equals to 0, right? So we started from 0 because we need to draw a graph. There is a blank graph on next page, so it means that we need to draw a graph. So we started from 0. He accelerates non-uniformly. So this is important, accelerates non-uniformly. Okay, so the first part is he accelerates non-uniformly. So just make a rough picture in your mind that non-uniformly means a curve in a graph, right? Because uniform means a straight line. Non-uniform means there will be a curve in a graph, right? So we started from 0, then we make a curve type diagram until he reaches a terminal velocity, right? And what is the value of terminal velocity? 44 meters per second at time is equals to 30 seconds, right?
Yes.
So it means that we started from 0 and we reached 44 constant speed non-uniformly. So there will be a curved line from 0 till 44, right? And time is equal
Okay.
to 30 seconds. Now just note down these values and let's try to make this on a graph. So we started from 0 and time is equals to 30 seconds means where will be the 30 second? Time is on x-axis.
Between 0 and 40?
Yes, between 0 and 40, and we know that between 0 and 40 there are 10 divisions, right? So we need to find out the exact value of 30 where actually 30 is. Okay, if you got confused in these values that how to find out the exact block, so that is very simple. Let's suppose on x-axis we are having a 40 seconds, and those 40 seconds is divided into 10 blocks, right? There are 10 small units and value is equals to 40. So what we need to do, just divide 40 by 10, you will get 4, right?
Yes.
So it means that if you want to divide all the values, so each division is equals to 4, right? Let's suppose this first block is equals to 4, then 8, 12, 16, 20. So in this way, we can mark the values, right? So let's start to count the box and mark the value 30. So it's starting from first box, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. In the middle, we got 20 over here, right? Then 24, 28, and 32. So 30 will be in between it, right? So
Oh,
20
okay.
and 40, it will
In
be,
between 28 and 32.
yes. So it will be in middle of 20 and 40. So that is the mark of 30 seconds. So this will be the mark of 30 seconds. And let's try to mark on, and what is the value, just find out the value. Speed is equals to 44 meter per second. So let's mark 4 meter per second also on the graph. Now 40, and there are 5 divisions, so it means one division is equals to 2. 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, right? So 44 will be over here, right? So it means that
Okay.
you draw a curve starting from 0 and ending at 44 like this. So there will be a curved line like, okay. So that curved line shows you non-uniform acceleration, and we reaches the value of 44 meter per second at time of 30 second, right?
Why can't we make the curve like this?
Actually, what happens if we make a graph like this, or if we make a curve, because we actually in a free fall motion, right? So our speed with time increased very quickly because we started from 0. And you know that the last graph that we discussed, I will show you, so that will help you to understand that what we studied in our last class. Because when we started from 0, so our velocity and acceleration will quickly change in a very short time interval, right? So if you remember that part of the graph, the first part, so that first part, the curve like moving with y-axis, then turning towards x-axis, right? So the
Okay.
curve is like in this form, this part, right? So that's why we just discussed the journal graphical representation that will give you the idea that how graph is going to be curved. Because if we draw curve in different form, so it means that you will take more time to increase your velocity, right? So then we draw curve in different direction because we are increasing on x-axis quickly and less on y-axis. But we know that in free fall motion, our speed increases very quickly in very short interval of time. So that's why our graph moves from the direction of y to the direction of x. So that's why our curve will be like this. Okay.
Okay.
And we reaches a constant speed of 44 meter per second at time is equals to 30. So we completed our first part. Now if we talk about the second part, so in second part they are asking at time t is equals to 40 the parachute opens. So it means there is a gap between there is a gap of 10 seconds between 30 and 40 seconds, right? So it means that during that 10 second, body will travel with constant speed, right? So now let's complete a straight line till 40 second like this. Okay. So during this time interval, speed is constant till 40 seconds. Then we have a parachute opens, he decelerates for 4 seconds. It means that your graph will decline like this. Remember that in a very short time interval, it will move in downward
Yes.
direction. So now we need to draw this diagram in the time interval of 4 seconds, right? Reaching a smaller terminal velocity of 5 meter per second. It means that now we need to move till 44, right, on x-axis, because we already reached the value of 40. So 44 plus 4 means 44. So it means that we need to mark 44 on x-axis. So this will be our 44, because we know one box is equals to 4 seconds, right? So your graph will be,
Yes.
I will draw with a different color, so that will give you the concept of deceleration. So it will decelerate, and what is the value of the speed? 5 meter per second. So it means that we need to draw a line till we reach the speed of 5 meter per second in downward direction. So it will be in between 0 and 10, like over here, right? So we need to plot a line combining these 2 points, right? Will be
Yes.
parachutes open, so your speed suddenly decreases, just like we discussed in yesterday's class, right? So this line shows you the deceleration. And the final, it reaches our smaller terminal velocity. He then falls at this speed until he lands on the ground at time is equals to 200 seconds. So it means that we need to just draw a straight line till 200, like this, because we reaches our terminal velocity, and then a body travels with the same speed till he or she reaches the ground at the time of 200 second, right?
Okay.
Okay, any confusion?
No.
A graph is simple, a little bit lengthy, but you know that it is for 4 marks, right? So that's a easy one. We can say that these are easy 4 marks. So that is the question. Okay, let's move toward the next part of this question. Calculate the average deceleration of the parachutist between time is equals to 40 and time is equals to 44 second. So what is the formula for deceleration?
Uh, Initial velocity minus final velocity.
Final minus initial, right?
Oh, okay.
So we just need to subtract final minus initial divided by time. Okay. So that is the formula, same like the acceleration. We know that in deceleration we got negative sign because the speed will decrease from initial value. So our initial value of speed is 44. We just decelerate from 44 till 5 meter per second, right? As mentioned in the question. Because initially we reach 44. This is our final,
Yes.
sorry, this is our initial velocity, and 5 is our final velocity, right?
So 5 minus
Yeah,
44
5 minus 44. So minus will indicate you that
divided
you
by 30.
time is equals to 4 second, because time slot for 44 minus 40, right?
Okay.
We are only talking about deceleration, the specific part of decrease in speed. So 5 minus
I
44,
got minus 9.75.
okay. So minus 9.75 per second. Okay. While writing the answer in theory questions, try to just answer or just try to round up the values in 2 or 3 significant figures, right? You know, significant figures. Those numbers which are non-zero are significant, right? Just like in this answer, 9.75. So 975, 3 of them are significant, right? So only try to write your answer in 2 or 3 significant figures, right? I will also tell you in some class that what is the basic definition of significant figure. It is not compulsory to round up till 2 or 3, but it is good or it is better to write your answer in two or three significant figure, right? So that will give a good impact of your answer on the examiner, that you are just following the rule. They will strictly follow this rule in A levels, right? Not in IGCSE. But I will teach you that how to round off these values, because that is a very short, simple method to round off the values, right?
So it will be minus 9.8.
No, if you want to write in two significant figures, so just write 9.7, because we know it is 5, so it will not round off, or it's up to you. If you want to round off till 9.8, so you may round off till 9.8. Otherwise, 9.7 will also work, right? Because there is
Okay.
of two or three significant figures, so this answer is in three significant, so it is okay, right? And if you want, in answer, it is not compulsory to write minus sign in your final answer over here, because they already mentioned deceleration. So deceleration definitely means the decrease in speed. So if you just write 9.75, you will also, I will also share the marking scheme. So in marking scheme, you observe that there is only a magnitude written over there, no negative sign, right? Because negative sign already explained in this term deceleration, right? Unit and the magnitude. This thing is important, and 2 mark, one is for calculation, 1 mark is for your SI unit, right?
Okay.
So explain in terms of the forces involved why the parachutist reaches a terminal velocity at 30 seconds. So now you need to explain in terms of forces that why this speed, or the terminal speed at time t is equals to 30 seconds, right? So it means that they are asking about the first part, this part, right?
Is it because of air resistance?
And you need to explain in terms of complete forces. That is our the first. This is our second phase before parachutes open, right? Because air resistance is equal to the weight, so two forces are equal and opposite. So then body will move with constant speed, right? So question is of only 1 mark. So you just need to give a simple reference over here, and the simple reference is, because you need to answer in terms of forces, so just focus on forces. So at time t is equals to 30 seconds, air resistance, the force. And what is the downward force? That is the weight of a object, because resistance act in upward direction, and air weight act in downward direction. Downward force, the weight of a, this is terms of forces that both are equal and opposite. So that's why at 30 seconds we reach terminal velocity, right? So the parachute
Okay.
decelerates when the parachute opens, right? So now in this situation, you need to explain in terms of forces, that when the parachutist decelerates and when the parachute opens. So explain in the terms of forces why the parachute decelerates. Just include one word, so that will be easy for you to answer, because why is already mentioned over here. So the complete question is why the parachutist decelerates when the parachute opens. So that is the phase one when parachute open. This one, parachute open means air resistance will be greater, because we got a huge, we can say that the surface area of the parachute. So in that situation, our air resistance overcomes the weight of the body. So that's why the parachute decelerates, right? So
Okay.
we need to answer this one too. So we can say that due to large area, or due to large surface, will take body in upward direction. Air resistance will take body in upward direction. And what will be the next step?
Terminal velocity also.
Greater will be greater than the value of the speed will the speed or velocity is near decelerate, right?
Okay.
Okay, in science exam or in science paper, you know that phrasing, they are not, there is no marking for the phrasing. There is a marking for your key points, your key terms, or a key concept that actually what they are asking about. So in this concept, you know that air resistance will overcome the weight and speed will decrease. And when speed decreases, so there will be a deceleration, right? Because initially we are moving with some speed and suddenly speed decreases. It means we decelerate, right? So that is the concept. And part three is the second terminal velocity.
Okay.
Again, just add y before the question so that will be easy to understand what they are asking. Why the second terminal velocity when the parachute is open is smaller than the first? Because we know that the according to the graph, we can say that the first velocity or the first terminal velocity is equals to 44 meter per second, right? And what is the value of final terminal velocity? If we just mark on the graph,
Is it
yes, this is our second terminal velocity, right? And this is our first terminal velocity, right?
44?
Yes, so our initial terminal velocity is of 44, and they are asking why the second terminal velocity or the value of second terminal velocity is less than the first one, because the second value is 4 or 5 meter per second, and the first one is 44. So why there is a difference?
Because first the parachute wasn't open
Okay. In terms of forces,
and the weight and at the before the parachute wasn't open, the weight was more than the air resistance.
okay. So we can say that,
And after the parachute opened, we have more air resistance.
so it means that the second terminal velocity reaches after acceleration. It means the resistance will be than the weight of a body, right? That's why body will decelerate, and due to that deceleration, our terminal or second terminal velocity is small as compared to the first one,
Okay.
right? So this is the concept. Okay, so this question is complete of 15 mark, and we left part that is related to Newton's second law. Formula is very simple, F equals A. But we discussed of force. So, but the formula is very simple. So only we left the question, otherwise completely solved 12 mark, right? Okay, this question
Okay.
your homework, and I hope you already solved one. Let's try to
I
solve.
did.
Yes, I will by this weekend and let you know that what is. And if we find an other question, so that is completely different from yes. Okay, let's try to solve this one. It is also related a free. So a student drops a small metal object into a cylinder of oil. The object falls alongside a vertical ruler, and a camera records its position at 1 second interval. So experiment is very simple. We just drop a ball in the liquid oil cylinder, and after 1 second, we just take a screenshot of the ball, that how much distance the ball covered, right? So experiment is very simple, and all values of the distance are marked on scale with the time period after 1 second, right?
Yes.
So this is for first second, this is for the second one, then the third, then the fourth. So the distance are marked on your scale, and this is at 0. So what is the question? On the grid figure point 1.2, plot a distance time graph for the object. So this is very simple, right? Because time and distance is clearly mentioned in the question. I will just uh, mark the numbers of distance, then you may draw the graph by yourself, because you know distance time graph is not a big deal, right? So let's suppose at time 1 second, what is the value of 0.5, right?
Yes.
So 0.5, then at 2 seconds 1
One
centimeter,
point. How is
because
1.6? Wouldn't it be 1.5?
actually we just mark from the center, right? Because initially we take the reference from center, so we always mark from the center, right? Because center part, because this is
Okay.
circular and center part touches the scale, so that's why we take center part, right?
Yes.
Actually in this type of question there is a leverage, or there is a range of answer in the question, because some students mark from the upper point, so their difference will same, because if you mark from the first one from the upper side of the ball, so definitely you mark each ball from the upper side, so your distance will be same, right? But it is better to mark from the center, because that is a proper method, right? And the next one is
Okay.
clearly 3 centimeter, and the next one is the 5 centimeter, and finally we reaches 7 centimeter, right? So these are
Yes.
the values for your graph. You know that we plot time on x-axis mentioned over there, values are mentioned over there. You just need the point, like at 1 second we need to mark 0.5, so 0.5 will be in the middle over here, right? And the second is 1. Second will be 1.6, so 1, 1.2, 1.4, 1.6. In this way you just complete the diagram or the graph, and the 3 at 3, 3 at 3 like this, and 4 at 5, 4 at 5 over here, only 5 at 7, this one, right? And if you
Yes.
just try to join the points, so it will be, I think it is not a straight line, right?
Yes, it is like slightly curved.
Yes.
Your voice is distorted.
Okay, just wait. Now is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so from the diagram, we observe that distance is slightly increasing from initial position. Then it will come constant. Like after 3, 3 and 5, difference is 2 centimeter. 7 and 5 difference is 2 centimeter. So there is a difference of 2 centimeter, right?
Yes.
So then it will be a straight line at the last 3 points, right? Okay, now let's check out the other part of the question. So what you need to answer in the next part?
They're asking if, how the speed is constant in the graph.
Okay, so how we are going to answer this one? So
We
question,
will say for the last 3 points, it has constant speed because the line is straight.
okay, and you may also take the reference from the graph that the gradient of the graph is constant, right? Or the body travels equal distance in equal interval of time, right? So basically you need
Yes.
to write for 2 marks. So for 1 mark you need to write for the graph, and one you need to write about the journal information, right? So we may answer this question like this. First of all, we take reference from the graph, because from graph first we got the concept that body is moving with constant speed for some time. So a straight line on the graph shows the body is moving con- I can think we can say that the body covers in each interval. Or one more thing, if you want to, you may also write that the gradient of the constant. We are talking about some part, so that some part, the gradient of the graph is constant, right?
Your voice is distorting again.
Okay. Actually, when someone tries to call a number, so my data just got distorted, so that's why voice is lagging over there. Sorry for that. The final part of this question is again the same, explain in terms of forces acting on the object, how it is able to fall at constant speed. So again, you need to explain those two phases before parachute, phase number one, phase number two. Okay. But only there is a difference. In this example, we are having a oil. So you need to explain that oil applies upward force or direct in upward direction, and weight of the ball acts in downward direction.